So now we come to stanza number 126, 9th chapter of Bodhicharyavatara. So first, refuting the Mimamsaka theory. Mimamsaka, this was another Indian philosophy who says that everything is created by the kind of the cause of everything, or the universe, is the infinitesimal and permanent particle, a permanent particle which cannot be divided, a permanent particle. And this permanent particle is the source of all the universe. So this is from Mimamsaka philosophy, and this is also one of the very strong philosophies of India. So here it says, where indeed refuted earlier. Earlier we had some discussions. I don't know how elaborately we discussed, but main thing is to see that permanent and like partless particle is not possible, because if it is a particle, then it has its parts. Even if the part is not something that we, with our capabilities now, cannot see or cannot divide it into many or into two, but there is nothing which can, as long as there is parts, it can be divided. And if there is something that is dividable, then it is not partless, and it cannot be permanent, because it is not one. And also, if something is truly one and permanent, then it cannot affect anything, and nothing can affect it. So you cannot have, you cannot create something with many of them, because even if you put many of them together, it wouldn't be able to make a mass, because it's partless. So therefore you can't make, if however many partless particles put together, it cannot make a kind of something more concrete, or something bigger, because it's made of partless things. And also, if it is totally one, then and permanent, it cannot react. And so if it cannot react, because if it reacts with each other, then it is changing, and then it's not permanent. So therefore, like that, it was already refuted, so we don't want to we don't want to repeat it here. Then from the second half of this stanza, the Sankhya philosophy. The Sankhya's are the one who hold that permanent Prakriti is the cause of the evolving world. It says, now, Sankhya philosophy is one of the, one of the oldest Indian philosophies, and it is it's a very it's very deep philosophy. There are lots and lots of debates between Buddhism. There are some similarities also, because Sankhya philosophy also do not believe in a creator that we already discussed, Ishvara, creator. Although nowadays there's some Sankhya philosophies who also kind of believe in a creator, but originally it's not a kind of theistic. It's not a theistic. It's a non-theistic kind of philosophy. And according to this philosophy, it talks about Purusha and Prakriti. Purusha is the consciousness. It's also kind of permanent consciousness. And the Prakriti is a matter. It's a matter. And these Purusha and Prakriti, these two realities, kind of exist together, like parallel, without affecting each other. And so this Prakriti is the one which creates everything. Purusha is not, because Purusha is a consciousness, and that the consciousness cannot create things. So when the Purusha and the Prakriti bonded together, that forms a living being, a jiva. Then this fusion of kind of together, or coming together, or bonding together, or kind of integrating, although it's not totally together, but somehow in a balance, then creates the being, and that creates buddhi, intelligence, that creates ahankara, buddhi and ahankara. Ahankara is ego. Sometimes we call it pride, but ego, and then buddhi, that is the intellect. And so everything is created, the mind and the thoughts. The thoughts and the mind also is considered part of the Prakriti. Or sometimes this is called primeval substance. Primeval substance, that's the Prakriti. So the universe is described by this school as created by kind of Purusha Prakriti, then it, infused together with all kind of, there are 25 elements, all these 25 elements together then functions the whole universe. It's a big philosophy and it's very complicated, so I would not attempt to, to describe or to try to explain this too much, because I don't think I will be able to, do justice to the whole thing. And also, as it is said here, so this, three gunas, the three gunas, or three qualities. Guna is qualities, but maybe it is it's translated here as three universal constituents: sattva, raja, tamas. Sattva is pleasure, rajas is pain, tamas neutrality. So when these three gunas, or three qualities, or three constituents, become imbalanced. These three natural constituents or qualities become imbalanced, then all appearances come, of whole multiplicity world is set in motion, and that's how whole world happens. So this is so it all comes from a permanent source. That's why the Sanghas are the ones who hold that permanent Prakriti is the cause of the evolving world. 127. Pleasure, pain, neutrality, so-called, are qualities which, when they rest in equilibrium, are termed Prakriti. The universe arises when this balance is disturbed. When these three qualities are balanced, then it is Prakriti, primal substance. And when these three qualities are disbalanced, disturbed, then the whole universe arises, and etc. etc. It's quite long and complicated philosophy. Now, to that, then there's a long, it's a little bit longer here, discussion. So maybe I'll read out the Tibetan first. This is the, Mimamsaka. Then now this Sankhya philosophy, where it says that everything arises out of this primeval substance called Prakriti, and there, tso taba roai jeyun panna tonchindu. Ni tup dulto mambashi savi yote nyamni na tso shisa rajut munyon roayin barjut. So this we kind of explained. Now to negate this, so to negate that it is one, the primal or tso or the prakriti primal substance, they say is one and permanent and material and things like that. So and it also says it has three constituents or three gunas. So that does not, if it is one, completely one and permanent, how can it have three constituents? So to say that, jila rongyen senyen rinmen tena tenyum, teyen tenyum tenyum soso nasam chir, yen temen na drasun che yuni shen de jonglin jers. So this stanza 128, three natures in a unity are disallowed, and thus Prakriti is without existence. Thus these qualities likewise do not exist, but each of them indeed is three. If these three qualities have no existence, a thing like sound is very, very far from plausible. So, these three natures or three constituents is not possible if it is totally one and permanent. So therefore, the idea of a Prakriti, which is primal kind of substance, which has three constituents, is not possible. These qualities likewise do not exist. For each of them indeed is three. So if there is no Prakriti, then you cannot say that Prakriti has three qualities. And these qualities also does not exist, because there are three and there's not one, and either it is three or one. And if it is one, they cannot have three constituents. If it is three, then it is not one. And also it is not, when these three qualities can be disbalanced and then all things come up, then it is not permanent, So therefore, for each of them it is three. I think I will just stop at 128. I think I've just read out the Tibetan as well, I think. Jila rongi sanya na rima tena teyum. Teyin yuen ten yuen ma te teyin soso namsan shir. Now this here yuen ten me na da so chon yuen yuen the Jolin, this two lines are given part of this, but we will talk about it later. So, thank you very much. All the best.